let's just get started. I'll do a quick update. Seems like there is some movement in the market, and then I was just kind of looking through the Telegram channel to see what you guys were in or what you guys were talking about. So let's go over some of these, and then we'll discuss it as we go. Okay, so let's look at dollar index. Remember, I was looking at a potential breakout here and confirmation to continue upside, and that actually was really a good confluence for me to enter. I'll go over euro dollar, which is a trade I enter, and I took a loss on. But it looks good to me when I see this reversal correction push up, and then there's a correctional structure. So was giving the overall dollar potential boost if this was going to continue. Okay, and but looks like what during the the London session, the New York session now, we didn't see that we didn't see that breakout continuation. So the dollar is seeming like it's declining. Okay, but it could just also be pulling a deeper pullback. This could be some sort of inverse head and shoulder to continue. That's one option, one possibility. So I'm still interested in the dollars. I'm still interested to see what it will do. But just be more cautious now because, excuse me, guys. So just be a little bit more cautious because I did take a trade on euro dollar and I did take a loss. So meaning to me that the price may develop a little bit um, more deeper or uh, more longer period of time. And I'll go over pound dollar as well because some of you guys may took that or may was interesting. So let's just look at a few really quick. Aussie dollar higher time frame wise, liking like what it's doing now, right? We have this impulse correction, and are we getting this on the intraday charts on the lower time frame? Yeah. I'm just seeing what this correction will do. Is this all the correction to correct this move and we can get the next down move? Or this fee has to break below, at least break out this overall structure and then come for a lower time frame correction? That could be also a possibility. So keeping an eye on this one. I think Aussie dollar looks good. Euro dollar is a trade I took loss on. This is a trade I set for entry order before I sleep. I was talking about this with in the Telegram when I post the screenshot, right? We're looking at, sorry guys. Sorry guys, my runny nose. So let's keep going on euro dollar. I mentioned about I like the overall kind of this ascending channel structure, very correctional to correct the overall this down move. And if I see this breakout out of this correction, and if there is a lower time frame continuation, I would look for that entry. So we see this impulsively breakout, and I see this correctional structure. That is clear for me to put an entry order here. And then this is just before I go to bed, really. So I woke up, this pegged me out. It did push down a little bit before it push up. So when I look back at it, I really wouldn't do anything different. I see these kind of setups, so I'm happy to take an entry here, and the risk reward 4.2 to 1 just to the lows here. To me, that is enough. That's good risk reward. So happy to take this trade over again as well. And looking at it now, price may form something deeper, right? We had this push out. I like that. Is this going to push up right away? Well, we're going down to the intraday charts a little bit. Are we going to see this breakout? Well, it has this pretty much bullish kind of a price action. We had this push out, and then we're seeing a potential correction here. So this can continue go higher, but I still like the overall move from the dollar. I still see this can be, again, same thing like dollar index I went over. Can this be a head and shoulder pattern that is going to be developing? And it's just take a longer period to form, maybe just a deeper correction here to be that right shoulder, and then the trade can continue. So just because I took a loss here doesn't mean that I would just put it off on the sideline now. I will still monitor this. I'll see what the structure will tell me and act accordingly. All right, so that is euro dollar. Hey everyone, sorry. Hey Leslie, hey Ray. So let's look at pound dollar. I remember, I think it was Brian who asked me in the Telegram, right? He was asking, was this sell valid or worse, the sell that breakout and look for this valid, right? And I mentioned that I would always take this sell, okay? It's just a preference, really. It's not that this correction wouldn't go, right? There was a correction nevertheless to correct this move. And, you know, trading is probability. There's obviously a chance that it can just start breaking out for this correction. And I mentioned that you have to wait for this one. This is also a possibility as well. And this is the difference between me entering here or versus entering here is that when I see price having breakout this overall structure, and I mentioned that in the chat, right? I said price can easily just bounce off here and start going up again, which is exactly what happened in this case, right? So for me to be more a safer trader, this is what I always look for, is that I want to see it break out this structure and then a correction to enter. Whereas this is also a valid entry, it's just that you're more likely to get a break-even trade or a possibility loss, but you'll get better risk reward. So there's really no right and wrong in this. All right. So what I see this now, well, just zooming out a little bit on pound dollar. It's going right back to the top again. Okay, so I'll be pretty interesting to see what it will do in this area again. Okay, so you can tell that it had this kind of a head and shoulder pattern, right? And then pretty much at the top of the overall double top of this overall kind of channel structure, and we had that push down, and this correction wasn't enough to continue break lower. So once the price is back here again, is it going to find some sort of double top here? Is it still going to be within the structure? Because the structure is not finished, right? We had this wick breakout, but again, that's nothing, right? I'm looking for confirmation correction to get in. So this is back to the top now, and we're still in this overall channel structure. We can still look for a potential reversal here to continue push the price down, right? We can make this kind of an AM style pattern as well within this overall recent price action. You're at the top now. So this is all good to me, that looking at the price will do in this area, and then see how it can be, can we get price reversal? Because overall, when we zoom out, still see this as an impulsive move, and then potentially we're just forming a complicated correction. But the last bit of a correction to me is very corrective. It's an ascending kind of a nature. This can be just the impulse, and this is the correction kind of a period, and then looking for the next period, next impulsive phrase. So that is pound dollar. That is all the dollar ones I'm looking at. Not much else on the other one. I see it was, remember I was talking about dollar CAD, but because I couldn't get enough risk reward to the lows, so not too interesting. And dollar Swiss, overall price had this kind of a more bullish kind of price action. Now when we had this impulse, we're just taking this longer period consolidation. Very similar like dollar index, looks pretty identical in this last bit of price action. And seeing the same kind of a head and shoulder as well, same thing with dollar index and euro dollar as well. So wanted to see what the price will do now, in this latest bit of a price action. If it's going to continue outwards, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see, more correctional structure to showing us that this can be the start of the next bullish kind of move, right? We always have these kind of bullish move, and then we have this correctional structure period, another bullish move, another correctional period, when it's going to be the next bullish push up from here. That is what I will be waiting for. So not yet ready, not yet really there yet. So I'll be patiently waiting for this one. With all the Brexit issue, this can be a tricky trade. News can reverse any trade. Yeah, I mean, when it's volatile, yes, I agree with that. So, if you're in any of the pound pairs, be careful, right? Because if that's going to continue to create effects, then, if that's too much risk involved, then, stay out of all the pound trades, right? So that's Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD, remember last session I was talking about see what the price will do if it comes down to the lows. So pretty much at this low, the previous low essentially, even though originally I see this as an impulse, and I was kind of looking at this correctional structure to push out, but we never get that. But this doesn't mean that we still cannot get the bullish push, right? We just pretty much have a potential double bottom and see what price will react in upcoming days. It's unclear what it's making here. It could be making some sort of reversal, continuation, that this can just be impulse, correction, impulse, and then another correctional structure to push out lower. So definitely not just going to be jumping to any buys or anything. If you want confirmation, then look for a little bit more development on the price if I was to look for a buy here. All right. And now I really won't be looking for a sell now because we're at pretty much a previous low. Even if it does form some sort of correction and push down, I think it won't be too long lived. You can easily just push down here and then start reversal back up from here. So definitely not looking to jump in unless there's further development. Aussie Swiss, not too much happening. Still looking last previous stream, still looking at can the price reach the previous low, see what price action will do here, and then potentially looking for a buy. Other than that, just happy to see what let the price consolidate here a little bit longer. It's a little bit unclear to me what is forming here. A little bit erratic here in my opinion. So want to wait to see a little bit more momentum from either of the price, either a breakout, then that's a confirmation for me, or if it's going to go below, then it has to break the previous low again. Okay, so that's Aussie Swiss. Let's look at yen pairs. Let's look at yen pairs. So yen pairs. Made this talk I think yesterday. And I still have a strong kind of a feeling about this. So let's take a look. Aussie yen, right? And mostly the yen pairs is pretty similar. I'm just talking about a quick lesson here, like how I mentioned this maybe a few weeks back when I said that, when we look at price action, do we see, kind of repeatable stuff? And this is a good example to kind of, keep a note on, right? And, maybe screenshot this just for learning purposes is that are we going to get the similar impulse like what happened earlier or during the COVID time, right? If in terms of we're just looking at previous price action and structure, we're seeing the same kind of ascending kind of a formation channel. We're seeing the first kind of a lower time frame impulse, all of that correction, and we're seeing some sort of correctional structure being developed here. And can we get that next impulse, right? This is obviously during the COVID time. I do expect an impulse out of this, even just to the lows here, and certainly won't be this impulsive in my opinion in COVID, right? It could just slowly trickle back down, but it's still an impulse nevertheless. That is kind of how I see on this, and happy to see what you guys know. What you guys see of this overall kind of a formation, overall kind of price action. Will we get this impulse out? Will we get the price action on a lower time frame to push the price lower? And that would be mostly the yen pairs will probably do the same. We'll go over a few of these as well. All right. All right. So let's continue. Let's continue doing all the yen pairs. Let's look at a few ones that I think you guys. Oh, actually, sorry. I did go over the lower time frame, right? So let's look at Aussie yen, lower time frame. Uh, Overall, we had this impulsive move breakout just on a higher time frame, and finally, it was forming a more deeper kind of a structure, right? And I remember when the price was in all this area, I said, don't get in this short because someone asked me, is this a head and shoulder pattern that I was developing? Yeah, if you're, if all you were looking at maybe just to this point, then yeah, potentially. But I said, I don't think this is all the correction it's going to make. It needs to make a little bit more move up to the upside, completing some sort of structure here, right, before the next down move, right? And that's why you don't want to get caught into, and I talk about this, a period consolidation. I don't want to be in the trade when the price is in the corrective phase. I want to be in the trade when the price is in the impulsive phase. So the price is likely to be moving very volatile, and there's a better probability that you can get to your target. So let's look at the lower time frame. Was looking at this as a possible correction, okay, and I got into another yen pair, so I'll go over that. But that's probably why also I didn't want to take two yen pairs. That's just within my plan. But looking back at it, I do like the overall price action. I do like this impulsive move, and we broke out of this kind of a higher time frame structure. with a lower time frame correction. So it is still valid in my opinion. If I was to look back at it, how would I look differently? Well, definitely set an entry order and then see what price will do. Uh, set up stop above the higher and then just see what the previous low. That is how my trade. So 4.221 roughly, exactly like my other yen pair as well. So I wouldn't do it similarly, and it's just about picking one of the yen pairs to go. So this one does look good, and I do see the potential out of here. And if we zoom out just a little bit, this is just to the previous low, right? So and the ultimate kind of the target would be the next low. Okay, so the next kind of a low from the price action, and likely to be continued down and then potentially forming another correction, a deeper correction here, and then push down the price to the previous low. And then on the higher time frame, then this is where we would reevaluate, sorry, to see what the price would do. Is it going to form some sort of double bottom here, and price can start reversal? Okay, so that is Aussie yen. So let's keep going. I remove this. Swiss yen. So let's talk about Swiss yen. Um, Swiss yen and Euro yen are pretty much identical. Okay, so I personally pick Euro yen instead, but looking at Swiss yen, they're pretty much identical. They have pretty much the similar price action. You have this kind of a double top, and then prices in this overall kind of ascending kind of formation channel. And lower time frame, you had this head and shoulder, you had breakout from this, so pretty impulsive move, and you had this kind of ascending channel, kind of a correctional structure. So still pretty significant. You see price has been moving pretty correctively up and down from here. And finally, reaching a top, you had the first impulse correction, and you break out of this overall correction. So that's all good, and just kind of see what price will do. Is it going to form another correctional structure here to continue push down? You see this is also a very high probability that we're in the next impulsive phase now. We had the first impulse, first correction, and this can be the next impulsive phase. And just even reaching to the low, you'll get pretty good risk reward from here. So that's Swiss yen. Let's talk about Euro yen. This is the one I'm in. I pick Euro yen instead in Aussie yen. Just like the price action a little bit better. So let me go over this quickly. Yeah, so I was looking at this previous, I think it was when was this? Yeah, just a couple, pretty much yesterday or so. I was looking at this. Can this be the correctional structure to break out? Ultimately, I decided not to enter this one. I do like the impulse. I do like the correction, but I was kind of looking at it. We're just the correction kind of formed just right below of this. I mean, it's right above, still within this overall channel, and this can just be a correction to push the price up. It doesn't have to be a continuation correction, right? Remember, guys, we talk about correction has reversal and continuation, right? This doesn't have to be a continuation for this move. It can be a reversal correction to push the price up, and that's why I didn't enter this one, and which is okay because now that I see price broke out this overall channel, and then I could potentially get another correction to form here, and this is the one I enter. We had this full breakout, so this is one impulse now, and then one correction to break out, and then go from here. Okay. So give me a second, guys. Sorry. Sorry, guys. My daughter came up. I had to tell my wife to grab her. So that is what I see. Okay, so that's euro yen. So I'm in this euro yen, targeting the lows, right? Just as a first target, 4.121 or so. So very similar like Aussie yen and other yen pairs, but that's just my first kind of target, and we'll see what can we break below this previous low, and then continue down more, and then push down the price. That will be interesting to see the more development. So that is euro yen. And let's talk about pound yen really quick because I think most of the pound pair had that reversal, right? And I talk about this because when I post this entry, and I always talk about when price break out of the overall higher time frame kind of a correctional structure, you always want to look for one more confirmation from the market. And to me, I think when someone messaged me this is that, was this a correctional structure? No, I because we impulsively break out very strong, I don't want to just see some like 5 minute kind of a structure. I want to see a little bit more tangible, right? You want to have a little bit more top and bottom, so that you're telling you that this is potentially a correction to correct this move. It's just not. This is still a correction. It's just that it's too small for my liking. Okay, and it's more like a descending in order kind of thing. And you can see that price did had the chance to pop down, but then we had this kind of a impulsive trade right back to the part. So if you were in this trade, likely to be break even. But this is personally why I chose the other one. It looks the correction is just much deeper, much better as well. And I didn't want to just jump into this one. Okay, that's really my decision behind this. Instead, I choose Euro Yen instead. It had a correction before we break out, and then we had another kind of clear structure to me for the continuation. Okay, so that's what I see on pound yen, and that's pretty much all the yen pairs. Let's go over a few other ones. So Euro Aussie, still like this overall price action, just a little bit longer to develop. Still being break the low, and that's kind of how I want to see price to do before consider something here for a possible entry. And kind of looking at this, if I'm just looking at the latest price action, I'm seeing potential head and shoulder pattern, but you can see that this is potentially an impulsive move, and this is a correctional structure to push price up. And so that's why, waiting for a little bit more confirmation is very key. I recall we were discussing this in the Telegram channel, and when price was in this overall area and when it dropped down like this, I remember there was a discussion said, hey, is it good to be selling here already? And then because then we had this impulsive move, and then we had this correctional structure. And it's very similar like pound dollar I went over in the beginning, right? I talk about that. I personally would want to wait for price to break below a previous low and then form a correction here for the sell, because it's just one more confirmation for me, right? And you can see that that's really the small things I work on, that it will help you to save a little bit more capital, right? You'll pretty much you won't be into these mediocre trades where that you will get easily tagged out once price start forming a little bit more reversal. And it's not that this trade won't work out. There's a chance, it's a probability, right? Trading is probability. There's a probability that this can just be the correction to push lower. And if you were to enter this trade, yeah, you will be in profit, but you gotta see it as more in terms of long term, right? Is it sustainable? Is it scalable? Looking at this, you have to do a little bit more back testing, right? Looking at previous price action, on different pairs, entering these kind of positions, how's the probability that it will work out? Of course, if you take 10 of these, it will work out sometimes, right? That's how probability works. But on a long-term scale, is it going to help you, help you to build your account to enter these trades? Whereas just waiting for that simplicity, waiting for a breakout, waiting for a correction here would be more ideal. You have the clear lower low, you have this, you break the previous low as well, and you have the correctional structure. Yes, you will miss some pips here. Maybe your stop will be bigger, but it's the safer way to do. All right. So let's talk about Euro Kiwi. Euro Kiwi. So I got a Euro Kiwi. I think I mentioned that in the chat. So looking back at Euro Kiwi, wouldn't done anything different. I think it's pretty clean that when I was looking at this, and price did not break this previous low when during this kind of period of time. I was looking at, let me just show you. When I make this decision, it was somewhere here. So when I see that price didn't break this low, or barely touched it, and then if you look at like lower time frame, that we had this push down, and then instead start forming this kind of a falling wedge or descending channel, more like a wedge to me. Okay, and the price is very correcting, and I don't like it when I see prices correcting when we're near this previous low or whatever, because this is how tend the price do. If we look back previous price action where I took the previous sell, right? If you guys remember, I took the sell here as well and got out over here about 3 to 1, I remember. Let me just show if I have it. yeah, this was the previous sell, right? A previous sell got in here, and then when price is in this overall kind of correctional period, it's not really moving down impulsively, then I know that this can be developing into a correctional structure to reverse back up. And that's why I would just move my stop and then, get pegged out here for 3 to 1. And very similar than what price seeing here, right? We didn't break this previous low, and then it's just that the correction is much smaller, but it's the same idea, is that there's a correction here to a potential reversal correction here to show you that the price may bounce up. And here on the lower time frame, it's showing you the same. It's that this falling wedge. We don't have the impulse. We don't see impulsive kind of price action. Instead, it's very corrective. And then we had this pop to the upside. And this is why I just manually exit, because when we even break the previous low as well, so potentially can be a bullish kind of a reversal. And I didn't want to give up my profit. So happy to exit the trade here for 2.5 to 1 or so. And happy with the result, happy with kind of what the price is telling me now. It's a little bit indecisive, what I'm seeing here. So my plan, once I exit this trade, my plan is to pretty much just wait to see if price will continue lower, right? I won't be entering anything here now. I'd rather wait for a complete breakout and then a correction to get in. I will still want to get into this because we are, from a higher time frame perspective, this can still be the impulsive phrase, and we're about halfway finished. We're still moving pretty impulsively if you see how previous price action has been doing. So it's just that this is my way of being a little bit more safe in terms of risk management, but I would still be looking for a sell if, like I said, break below the previous low and then some sort of correctional structure to push out. And because I see the higher time frame possibility of risk reward, even just to the lows here, or a possible breakout. So I do want to get in this if the price action is good. All right. So let's move on. That is Euro Kiwi, and one more one to go over. So Kiwi Swiss. This one is kind of more as a maybe, because I had Euro Kiwi. I had Euro Kiwi before, right? That's why Kiwi Swiss is pretty much correlated. It's like in reversal. So that's why I wouldn't want to trade pretty much identical pairs, right? Euro Kiwi, Kiwi Swiss. But I like, kind of the latest price action. I mentioned this a few streams as well. We're seeing this as impulsive race, and then we have a pretty clean kind of a correctional structure. Okay, I like these kind of correctional structure from especially Swiss pairs. And once they see this breakout, is it going to form some sort of correctional here to continue buy? And looking at this, I do like it a little bit more. Okay, I do like a little bit more, but judging by what Euro Kiwi is doing, it's a little bit consolidated. It's a little bit consolidated in this area, so not too clean, not too clear of what it's going to do. Then Kiwi Swiss might do the same thing. This can be just a longer period of consolidation. I would probably wait for a little bit more development on the price before consider anything. Last one to go over, pound Swiss, right? So when I look at this, I'm just looking at from a higher time frame perspective. If we zoom out here on the daily, overall, looking at higher time frame, this is pretty much the all-time low. If I can zoom out here, pretty much this is the all-time low. Okay, so we had this previous kind of a double bottom rejection. To me, this is pretty clear, a clean kind of a higher time frame double bottom. Price will break below some previous level and then right back shoot up. So to me, it's very clean. Daily, we had this impulsive move up, so this is pretty impulsive. If we just kind of look back, so about 1,000 pips or so. Okay, so we had this impulsive move to the upside, and we just have all this kind of correction, kind of price action. Overall, pretty parallel within this channel. So there's a good indication to me that this is just all correctional price action for this impulsive move, and we could potentially get the next impulsive move from the market. And the more correction I see between that takes this long to complete, the more it gives me a good confluence that this structure is going to be a continuation for this move, and we want to look for the next buy potential. And looking at the lower time frame, so we had this previous kind of a recent double bottom, price had this impulsive move down, but there was no clear correction to continue lower. Instead, we had this reversal, double bottom, bullish push up, bullish correction, and looking like this is continuation and continuation structure here. You can see this as a one impulse and this is a correction, and looking to see if price will break out. So I want to see what it will do in this general area. It's breaking top, breaking below, whatever it is, it's still not indecisive. Again, I won't be entering any breakout like this. My confirmation is always going to be a little bit lower time frame structure, lower time frame correction. But whether it's going to be here or here, here or whatever it's going to form, it's not too important where it's going to have to break above this trend line I draw. The trend line doesn't mean anything, right, guys? Talk about this. It's the structure. It's the structure I'm looking at. So once it break out, all I need to see is lower time frame correction, lower time frame correctional structure to give me the last confluence that we had this overall impulse move. We had a correction, and then lower time frame. Lower time frame tells us impulse, correction, impulse, right? So it works out when you go down as a higher time frame, going down from top-down approach. It gives you much more clarity on what the price will do. And if every time frame gives you the same kind of bias, then that is what it is, right? It's giving you that information that this potentially could be the next buy move, and just waiting for the development, right? Don't get too impatient. You want to be patient when prices in this kind of consolidated period. So that is really the only pound pair I see that was more relevant. There was some push from the pound, right? So that is really all the one I'm looking at. So any question on these ones, guys, before I jump into other things? So let's look at gold really quick. Let's look at gold really quick. Still a little bit not clear. Okay, I'll draw these. This is why I clear my chart all the time, is to give the simplicity of easier to look at. So one way to look at gold is that we're in this potential bullish move, right? We've been pushing up since obviously the previous kind of time, right? Where obviously this is in the bullish trend, and latest price action, you had this bullish impulse, and then this can be just a larger correctional structure, like potentially pushing the price up, right? That's one way of seeing this. And another way of seeing this is that the way how I originally was looking at is that this can be a correctional structure, and this is a push down, and then this is another correctional structure building, and potentially more downside, right? That's one way, another way of seeing this as well. Okay, so because to me is not too clear on what these two can do, and there's both sides, there's merit to this. I was more leaning towards a buy in the beginning of, I think it was beginning of the week or end of last week. I was more looking at this as a buy, right? Like I had this price break below the double bottom, and we had this impulsive move. We had a period of consolidation, and then price pop up again. And I was looking at, can we get a continuation up here and a continuation lower time frame correction to buy? And that's why someone messaged me, was this a valid buy? And same thing with the few pairs I talk about, right? This could be a one to breakout, but my confirmation is always waiting for the breakout, waiting for one more confirmation from the market. And you see that I pretty much conserve my capital. I don't need to take these kind of mediocre trades where it will end up in the loss, right? I conserve my capital. I'm waiting for more high probability setup, because if I'm seeing this as an impulse, if I'm seeing this as an impulsive move, and this is a correction, and I want to be in the next impulsive move to the previous top, and the best confirmation is, like I said, waiting for the breakout, right? Because this can just come in triple back down once more, hitting the previous low, and then still continue up higher, right? And you just wasted capital here for unnecessary loss. All right. So back on gold, in terms of where I think where it go, well, I don't think it's going to go up or down at this moment in terms of uh, confirmation or confluences. So that's why I'm happy to just not be in the trade for this one. I just want to see a little bit more development from, if it's going to go down, if it's going to go up. You can just see both way, right? I can see this both way, and that's why I don't want to, guess, right? This is not good trading if you're going to be guess which way it is. You want to wait for, if you're a technical trader, you want to wait for better price action, or your strategies, you want to wait for confirmation, right? So to me, there's not too much confirmation here, and happy to be on the sideline and wait for further development. Okay. So let's go over a few equities. Let's go over a few equities that could be looking interesting. I'll go over a few ones that I have mentioned. So Apple, potentially, I was looking at this as a previous top, and that once we had this descending kind of a channel, and then we had this bullish kind of a price action correction, had this push up, and if this is going to develop some sort of correction here, and I do see this push up to the top. Okay. I'll go over these pretty quick, guys, because I went over these in the previous stream as well, just pointing out a few possibilities on these ones. Netflix, yeah, Netflix is good. I like the overall breakout. I mentioned that I want to wait for a breakout for this overall correction, and then wait for that lower time frame correction to get in the buy. So looking like it's breaking out, but waiting for the confirmation again, right? This is pretty steep breakout. Okay, there's price moving pretty up and down, but pushing it up nevertheless. So waiting for the correction here would be a valid buy for me. Tesla, yes. So Tesla, same idea, right? This is pretty much identical to the previous one I mentioned. We're forming this larger correction, and then price managed to break out, which is good. And looking for that correctional structure once again to get in the buy. This was exactly what happened in the previous setup I mentioned. This is actually a buy that I took. Had the price breakout, and then just put my stop here below. But still seeing this as a very, very likely buy. We had this overall impulse, larger correction, push out, waiting for the correction to give you the confirmation for the next push up. So that's Tesla. And let's talk about Zoom. So Zoom had this breakout I mentioned. This was a kind of a triangle structure from correcting this overall impulsive move, and we finally had this breakout. So lower time frame, what are we seeing? Not too impulsively breaking out, so waiting for a little bit more correction here to get in would be more ideal. Okay, so that is Zoom. That's only the few ones I'm looking at, guys, in terms of equities. And let's go over crypto last. Let's go over a few crypto. They're mostly negative, so they're mostly dropping. So let me go over them. There's a few posts I post that I was looking for a buy, and let's see if they're still valid. Let's see if they're still could potentially push up more. All right, so let's look at Cardano. Cardano was a post I mentioned that looks kind of clean, that we had this overall descending channel on higher time frame, and we had this inverse head and shoulder pattern, a reversal kind of structure. We had this impulse up, a larger correctional structure, and then another push up again. So this all looks pretty good to me. There's a lower time frame correction here, and I thought this could be the push to go up. But looking back at it now, price can just be forming a deeper correction like this, like the previous correction. We had an impulse up, and we had an impulse up as well, right? So this can be just a deeper correction. Okay, it might take a little bit longer or a little bit deeper, but it could just be moving up in this kind of fashion. So don't discount this one yet. I still see there is potential just from a higher time frame perspective. Okay, we had this impulse up already, pretty strong, right? This is just a correctional structure. We could be getting the next impulsive run. So let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, very similar structure, right? I made a post here. It's very similar than the previous one, right? We had this impulsive move. We had this larger kind of a correctional structure, and we finally had a lower time frame breakout. So a lower time frame kind of a bullish push, and there was a correction here. You can see that there was a correction here, and price did manage to push up, but again, a little bit corrective now. So this to me that this can just be a larger structure that it's going to form, because it can just trickle down, trickle up, and then just forming a larger correction to correct this overall move, and then we could still potentially push up from here. So be a little bit more patient on those, because higher time frame wise, we've been pushing up, right? We have impulse, correction, impulse, larger correction, and looking for the next impulse. Looking at a higher time frame, just want to see what the price will do if it can we break out this previous high. This is kind of how I'm seeing this as the overall push. And if we break the previous high, then you're just looking at the all-time high here, and are we going to get the continuation? In my opinion, in time, okay, in time I do see Bitcoin continue to push up, but is it this time? Is it going to push up from here? We'll have to see. Okay, so let's look at a few other ones. Yeah, let's look at Link, because Link is still my favorite. Okay, I talk about Link being favored, still liking the overall price action that we're getting. Okay, I still see this is very clean kind of impulsive move and just a higher time frame correctional structure. So already we're seeing this kind of a channel flag structure. We push up and looking like it's going to form a correction here, and that's a really valid buy for me. Okay, the only last confirmation, if you really want, is just for the price to push up a little bit more and get the second correction to get in. That's also a valid buy to me as well. Okay, so wait to see what price will do. Previous high, that would be my target. This one surprises me. I was looking at this. This is more clean to me for the buy. So I was kind of see the overall inverse head and shoulder pattern, and then we had this impulse, correction, impulse, larger correctional structure to correct this move, and then we push out, right? But price is slowly trickling down. So that to me that maybe this is not all the correction it's going to make. Excuse me. Are we going to go down more? And this structure is just a more kind of a wider structure now to push up. That's one possibility. Or continue dropping down to the previous low once again for a double bottom or a triple bottom now, and still push up from here. So still very interesting. The price action, still keeping an eye on this one. Okay. And last two, just going through Ripple. Nothing has changed. We're still in this overall kind of correction from this kind of an impulsive move breaking out of this correction. And I still like the overall price, right? I talk about this every stream, right? I still see this as a very clean price action. So want to see, are we going to be in the next impulsive move in the market? Ending with Ripple Bitcoin, looking for the next push up. We want to be in the impulsive side, right? Impulse correction, we want to be in the next impulse. Okay. So that is all the ones I'm looking at today, guys, in terms of crypto. Still see Link is the best for a potential buy. And then equities wise, went over Netflix and then Tesla as well. Those are looking pretty good. And in terms of commodities, gold, like I said, not too interesting right now. I want to see a little bit more development on gold. And currency wise, just in the euro yen pair. And if I'm talking about a few ones that are interesting, let me just go through. The Aussie yen was a trade that's interesting that I missed because I was in euro yen, and that is about it. So pound Swiss, yes, pound Swiss is the only one that I look that is interesting that I could potentially be looking for a buy. During today or next 24, 48 hours, this is the only one that I see that could be interesting. Okay. So any question, guys? Any question on anything? Happy to answer any questions that you guys have. You can do a Q&A as well quickly. No question, hey guys? Well, pretty quiet for everyone. Can I go over Euro Swiss? Someone private message me. Yeah, I can go over not Euro Swiss, sorry, Euro Kiwi. Okay. Yeah, I'll go over Euro Kiwi. What's my reason behind it? Yeah. So, like I said, I exit this trade. Okay, I exit this trade somewhere here. Okay, the reason being is that when I look at the price action overall, um, I didn't see the price break the previous low. Okay, this is during the time when I was looking at the trade. Okay, during this time, I when I see price just didn't impulsively break the previous low. To me, this is not impulsive. This is just a very kind of a sideways correctional kind of structure, correctional period. Not impulsive phrase, not impulsive. It's very corrective, right? And I don't like to see that when it's near the bottom. This is just by experience is telling me that price does not have enough momentum to break it below. Instead, we might be getting a bullish reversal. And I didn't want to hold my trade through some sort of deeper correction. It's not that it won't continue to go, it's that it could just form a deeper correctional structure. Something like this, okay, or even something like this, right? Price just continue trickle up, trickle up, trickle up, and then like taking out half of my profit. And then, during the time, if you're not an experienced trader, you might get emotional, you might exit the trade or whatever, and then if the trade start falling, you'll be more emotional that you exit at the top and then price drop, right? That I think kind of things happens. And or another possibility that it can make this correction and then price just continue going up and it becomes a bullish kind of trend and continue upwards and I pretty much uh, lose up all my profit, I'll just take a break even or something like that. And I didn't want to do that either, right? Once it hits certain percentage or certain risk reward, I like to secure the profit and I like to just move on, right? Move on to another possibility. And I mentioned this that I'm still interested in the sell. Don't get me wrong, is that I just want to see price breaks out of this previous low, right? And then form a correction here. That will be a trade for me to enter for the sell, right? It will give me enough risk reward to the lows, but looking at this more on a higher time frame perspective, want to see if it can break below. This is still going to be in that impulsive phase of the market condition, and that's why even if a lower time frame breakout, lower time frame correction is enough confluence for me, we're in the impulsive phase now, right? So once we break below, forming a deeper correction here would be just a valid sell for me to continue. Okay, and happy to just take a profit here, right? Because I wouldn't able to obviously guess what the market would do. It's more about based on the current market condition, what would I do given this scenario? And to me, it's all about risk management and securing profit. And seeing this kind of descending kind of channel, or you could call it a falling wedge, whatever it is, it's reversal correction to reverse the price. And I didn't want to, hold this trade for it to continue, for this to continue into a bullish trend, and then taking me on half of my profit. Okay, so that is my reasoning behind Euro Kiwi. And that is it, guys. That is it. So looking at Pound Swiss is, like I said, the only trade that I might be consider in the upcoming 24, 48 hours. And I'll update everyone in the Telegram as well for any trades that I take and any updates, okay? Good night, sir. Yeah, good night, man. What are top trades you're looking for? I'm in Euro Kiwi for sell. Should I hold? Well, I'm in Euro Kiwi. Euro. Sorry, I keep saying euro yen. Yes, I mean euro yen. I'm happy to hold through the yen and see what happens. Is this going to continue lower? Right. I'm happy to hold this one. Nothing wrong with the trade overall. I like that this could be the impulsive phase of the market condition though, so it could potentially keep dropping. Uh, it might form a deeper correction though, right? We had this pretty steep kind of a drop down, so don't be surprised to start forming a deeper correction. And that is within your trading plan. If you're going to hold through a correction like this or you're going to exit, that's totally up to you. I personally, when I enter a trade, I am accepting that it will go to a loss. That's why it's not emotional for me, even if it's going to form a deeper correction here, right? Impulse, correction, impulse. Okay, that is how I see euro yen. So I will be holding through. Nothing else to not hold through, to be honest. Uh, this can be a more slanted head and shoulder. We had this correction, we had this impulse, correction, impulse, and is it going to form more, lower time frame correction to continue? That's what I see on euro yen, and that is the only pair that I'm in right now. I'm not in any other pairs. So, all right. So that is it, guys. That is it. Nothing else on my watch, and any other question? And no, then I'm happy to end the stream here. I'll post this Telegram channel just in case if you guys are interested in joining me. Everything is free. We share everything. I share everything for free. So feel free to jump into these and go from and ask me question in the chat as well. Happy to answer those as well. All right. So someone asked me pound Swiss. Yeah, I can go over it once again. Pound Swiss. So this is what I see on pound Swiss, and let me go over it from a higher time frame perspective so this makes sense why I'm seeing it this way. That we've been in this kind of a obviously bearish trend, right? That's from ever since probably before a lot of you guys into trading. This is in the 08 time, right? And I don't have any more data, or at least ONDA doesn't have any more data, but my understanding from FXCM, the price still continue up this way, okay? So there is obviously some sort of impulse push down and then some sort of correction. This is what we're seeing in terms of correction. And this is the pretty much, the market crash in 2008, sorry. So it had this impulse pretty much falling down. Like Swiss gained a lot of strength in this sense, right? And if you really zoom into the latest price action, there's price hasn't been trading below this low ever since, right? You have this low in 2011 and then low in 2016. 2016, this is during the Brexit time, by the way. Those of you guys who maybe start trading this time, this is the Brexit time, 2016. And price hasn't really been doing too much. This can be, you can argue that this is an impulse correction and then potentially impulse and then, a larger correction here for the next impulse, right? This is one way of seeing that. And then we push up and then potentially looking like it was going to reverse now, forming this. And then we had obviously the COVID time during this period. We had this first kind of a head and shoulder you can call, and then you had this impulse correction, massive impulse down, right? This is during COVID. And we broke the previous low. Okay, we broke the previous all-time low. And then it's important is that we didn't see a continuation or just further price down move. In fact, this is pretty much a strong reversal. There's probably no even really any corrections here. It's just really like a V, right? This is sometimes you see this in the stock. You see this impulse, no correction. You have an impulse and a reverse impulse right back, right? This is usually a good sign that the bearish move cannot continue anymore. There's not enough even momentum to build a correction to push down and pretty much just reverse right back up. So to me, a very good double bottom and price push to the upside. And then looking at this as an overall potential continuation correction to have the next push up. So impulse, correction, impulse. The first continuation impulse will always give you a higher probability. especially we're on a higher time frame now, right? We're on a higher time frame, and first impulse, and then if we could get a lower time frame correction here, I do think this buy would be pretty solid. Even just to the top here, you can get, I think, I kind of just drew it out earlier, 6 to 1 or 6 to 1, 6 to 1, depending on your stop or whatever. But looking at higher time frame wise, this is just a first kind of target, right? If you want to hold this for long term, you're holding this for, position trading, you want to get in this long term kind of a buy potential, then wait for the price to break out, and then if there's more lower time frame correction, then possibly getting to this, possibly scaling another entry and continue up. Right? See with the previous top as a potential second or third target. Okay, I do see this continue upwards, not in this kind of fashion, of course. This is from COVID, right? There's a lot of other condition, other factors to push down the price like this. But I do like the next bullish push. I do like the next bullish push as a very potential possibility from the market. Okay. Hello. So that is it, guys. That is it. That is all the ones I'm seeing. If there is no other questions, happy to end the stream here. Happy to go over any pairs quickly if you guys have any pairs you want me to go over. If not, then I'm happy to talk to you guys again in my next stream. Did I speak about equities? I did. You can point out a few. I can go over them quickly. I did go over most of the equities, but you can point them out if you want. Yeah, if you have anything, if you have few, are you in position before the election or not? What position? Like in what market? Are you talking about Forex, equities? Which market are you referring? Me, I'm half out too afraid. Well, that's why you manage your risk, right? You don't need to be in too many equity trades, or you don't need to be in too many currency trades, right? So just go by that. So instead of jumping into too many equities trades, just focus on a couple, right? If you want to be in those, so that way you can mitigate your risk. You're not in all this, so you're not over trading or over leverage in that sense, right? Tesla, yeah, I can talk about Tesla again. So Tesla, still see this as the overall pretty bullish trend, right? This is, excuse me, we've been pretty much pushing up since the COVID. We had this push up correction, correctional structure here, push up again, correctional structure, push up again, correctional structure, and then push up again, correctional structure. So really nothing changes throughout this whole period of time. What I like about it is pretty much identical to the previous buy possibility. You had this previous impulse, larger correctional structure, and then there was a lower time frame correction once it breaks out of this higher time frame structure, right? So it's already repeating itself technically. So waiting for that correction to build here, okay, would be a valid buy for me. And then getting to this buy for the next kind of a up move, okay? You're likely to see similar bullish kind of impulse, okay? Very similar that you have seen before. You're going to see these over and over again, right? Impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse correction, right? So you're just looking for the next impulse. Nothing changes, right, throughout this throughout this after this COVID drop, and price has just been this bullish trend ever since. Okay, and the reason being even for this kind of a bigger correction is because there was a stock split here, right? I remember before this time, stock was much higher, $2,000 or something, or even higher, I forgot. But the point is they had this stock split, and then this is how the market, I'll talk about this as a small thing, is that market tends to punish the people who really don't know price action or don't know technical. Is that you have this strong impulse up, right? Naturally, price needs a correction, just like this, right? Impulse up, you need a larger correction. It's just a basic cycle of how the market moves. And a lot of retail traders, when they see this stock split, that is caught, it's cheaper now, right? It's like $500 to uh, buy a Tesla stock where it was costing 5 times more. So typical people, they would jump into the trade, just trying to capture. They're thinking Tesla is going to the moon, and then they have no idea what price has already been doing. It's already been impulsing up so much, and naturally just needs a deeper correction before the next buy. But to them, it was cheap. It was at 500. They can potentially buy a few more shares, and they buy it, and then see how it just plummet down to 330. Right, that's a huge drop. So a lot of these traders just get stuck into the market, and then once price correct itself up, and then looking that it's just going to resume. And these traders who got in likely are not going to be trading it again, or not going to put in more money because they just lost a bunch in a sense, right? So be a little bit more patient, waiting for price action to develop. Waiting for confirmation is going to save you on a lot of the unnecessary losses like that. All right. So that is Tesla. So no other question, guys. Then happy to see you guys all next week. Happy to see you guys in my next stream. That I'll do a weekly outlook on Sunday or Monday morning or Sunday. So make sure you get my Telegram so you'll get all the links to that and all the updates as well. All right. So thank you very much. I appreciate everyone showing up today, and hopefully see you guys in my chat group or in my Telegram channel. All right. Thank you very much.